Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal, and we move on to a very important topic. The Reserve Bank of India recently imposed monetary policy on 4 credit bureau for non-compliance after central bank discovered inaccuracies and incompleteness in the credit information maintained by these credit bureaus during a statutory inspection. What do these penalties actually mean, and who will be impacted by these credit bureaus? How will they be impacted? Let's answer all of these questions. I have Aparna Ramachandra, founder, director, rectifycredit.com. Ritesh Srivastava, founder and CEO of Freed. Aparna, good evening and welcome to the show. The 4 credit bureau agencies we're talking about are TransUnion Civil, Equifax Credit Information Service, Experian Credit Information, and CRIF High Mark Credit Information. And all of these 4 have been fined, from 24 lakhs to 26 lakhs. Now, what incompleteness and inaccuracies in their data are we talking about? Aparna.
Good evening, Kavita. This is an excellent move as far as I am concerned from both perspectives. According to the SICRA Act of 2004 is where all these credit bureaus came into existence. It is mandatory for every lender to update their data with the bureau once in 30 days, right? But this is like a voluntary thing. There is no talk about any penalty there or, no actionables if some XYZ borrower doesn't update his or her data. Initially, I can understand that a lot of lenders had problem because their data was an issue. But now we see that, there are some banks which have not updated data for almost 8 months, 9 months. So this is number one. Number two, at the same time, RBI has only
Aparna, one
penalized the
clarification
credit
and one thing
bureaus.
I want to understand from you is the kind of data you're talking about. What kind of data are you talking about? The data that these bureaus get from the bank, or the kind of data that, in terms of complaints, for example, if someone had put a
No.
complaint with
This
the
is
credit
only
bureau?
this is
Yeah,
only the data that the banks, the lenders submit to the bureau. So basically,
bureaus.
okay, let me
Okay,
get into a little
okay.
more detailing. So basically,
Exactly,
what
yeah, yeah.
happens is every lender has to submit his or her data, their data, once in 30 days, as far as every borrower, whether they have paid on time or not, whether there has been a delay, whether there has been a default. So this data needs to get updated every 30 days. So it is this data which the credit bureau gets from the banks is processed in with their algos, and then is where our credit report gets generated, wherein we all know about the credit score and good credit score, bad credit score, and all of that. So which means if the data doesn't get updated for a year almost, then what happens is two things: whether somebody has been paying on time, that doesn't reflect; if somebody has defaulted, that doesn't get reflected; if somebody has managed to rectify their whole credit profile, that also doesn't get reflected. So we are basically seeing stale data, and that has no meaning to anybody else anybody in the ecosystem.
All right. So, Ritesh, now coming to you, this lack of compliance that's been found out by RBI is actually not a new thing. But then I'm glad that this step has been taken, as also mentioned by Aparna. But tell us something. What kind of an image or reputation now this has in front of the users or the investors, or people who are really worried about their credit information, their credit rating? Can we really trust these bureaus anymore?
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Kavita. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the users don't have any option but to trust the bureaus because they've been entrusted by the RBI to maintain financial information, financial payment history, for the users across, their loan profiles, anywhere they're applying for loans, their credit history, the payment history, everything. Uh, I think also not to be overly critical of the bureaus because this fine has been as a result of a statutory audit that was done in 21 March, right? Which obviously was immediately after the moratorium was announced and the period of 6 months, where there was a restructure that was offered. So a lot of lenders were playing catch up, on with the bureaus in terms of updating the information, updating the payment history. So I think as the system evolves and as the credit bureaus evolve as well, I think we will see that there'll be far more regular updates that will be happening for the borrower's payment history, the entire credit profile. So I'm just taking a neutral stance here, Kavita, given the fact that this is for March 21, which was immediately after, we all know the moratorium and those things that happened.
Let's understand this from the viewer's point of view, Aparna. Now, if I want to dispute errors in my credit report, how do I do it? And also, the kind of inaccuracies that RBI has found out and have been these been asked to be rectified by the credit bureaus also. How will me as a user would know that I'm a part of this inaccuracy, and then how can I further go ahead and register a dispute?
Uh, Before I answer this question of yours, Kavita, let me also clarify. This is, also around the time where major issue happened because of these large PSU bank mergers that happened around the same time. So multiple banks, huge banks, data was, all over the place, which is where there was a delay, and the statutory audit happened in March of 2021, as I mentioned just now, and that is where this whole thing has happened. Today, to answer your question, it is not that all is bad or all is lost. If you and I today write to either of the four credit bureaus saying that XYZ data is not updated, the chances of you getting a response in less than a week is almost 100%. So, and then they in turn talk to the lenders and get your data updated. And these days, another good thing that all the four credit bureaus are doing is, each time you raise a dispute or there is an updation that is there, they are emailing you a soft copy of your own latest credit report free of cost. So this is a huge positive. So only thing I would suggest to all the viewers, like you and I, is which is why I keep telling that to check your credit report once in a year, if not twice in a year. If you know that you've been borrowing, or you've closed a particular loan, or you've disputed a particular loan, or there was some issue with your data, identity theft, or whatever that has happened. So it is good that when you check your report once in a year, you already know what is going on, rather than look for water when there is fire. So don't go check your credit report only when you are choosing to apply for a loan, or you've gotten rejected by a lender because there is an issue with your credit profile. So if you are hygienically doing this as part of your own personal compliance, then I don't see this as an issue. And like I said, if you raise a dispute, the response, the turnaround time is now less than 7 days. Kavita.
All right, so now this thing I wanted to understand, it is very important for the viewers to know that the credit rating improves once you maintain a proper process and you maintain hygiene in terms of your payments and put efforts in improving your credit score. Ritesh, how can we ensure and how can we actually cross-check that the impact will be seen on our credit reports also?
So, Kavita, there are four credit bureaus currently, right? And RBI mandates that every individual is entitled to one free credit report a year, right? So, and this is for your viewers, they can actually time their credit report, which they get free access to, right, from all these bureaus every quarter, every 3 months, right? Get a check of, and especially watch out for the status of your current loans as well as your closed loans. Look for the balances, right, that you have. Look for the payment history. Also look for the credit checks or the inquiries that have happened. I mean, we already are reading about a lot of identity frauds, right, where your PAN and Aadhaar gets leaked, and there are people who are pulling credit or or borrowing on your behalf, right, as identity fraud. So I think important thing which many borrowers may not do or may not be doing is to also look for the credit inquiries that are that are reported on your credit report, and once you check that, you will know whether are you a victim of identity fraud. So if you come across any credit inquiry which you have not perhaps applied for, that is a red flag right there, which you can write immediately raise a dispute to the respective bureau, and they are mandated to respond to you in a time. And like I completely agree with your previous panelists that you have 7 days. Within 7 days, we have seen many of our customers getting a response from the bureaus directly. So they are catching up. Like I said, it was the March 21 issue was largely because of many other functions, many other factors, consolidation of banks, mergers, moratorium. But I think we have seen the bureaus kind of, upping their ante.
All right, I think that will be all. Thank you so much, Aparna, Ritesh, for being on the show and helping our viewers understand every aspect of these news. Thank you.
Thank you.